The moment my husband stood up at our 10th anniversary party and clinked his champagne glass, I smiled. 200 guests turned to look at him. My family, his family, our friends, our colleagues. Everyone we had ever known gathered in that ballroom, waiting to hear what Raymond Carter had to say. He cleared his throat, adjusted his tie, looked at me with that smug little grin he thought was charming, and he said, "I have an announcement." Now let me tell you something. I knew exactly what that announcement was going to be. I had known for 3 months. See, Raymond thought he was about to humiliate me. He thought he was about to introduce his pregnant 29-year-old mistress to everyone I loved. He thought he was about to watch me crumble, fall apart, beg him not to leave me in front of 200 witnesses. What Raymond did not know was that I had the DJ ready. I had the video queued up on that big screen behind him, and I had been waiting for this exact moment for 3 damn months. My husband wanted a show baby. I gave him a premiere that ended with him in handcuffs and his mistress crying mascara all down her face. Before I tell you how I turned his little ambush into his public funeral, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now, like this video, and drop a comment below telling me what city you are watching from. Because this story right here, this story is about to get good, real good. And trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of how I destroyed a man who thought he could destroy me. Now let me take you back to where it all started. 3 months before that anniversary party. 3 months before I learned exactly who I had been married to for 10 years. This is the story of how I caught my husband exposed his mistress and walked away with everything he thought he was going to steal from me. Let's begin. It was a Tuesday night in March when everything changed. I had been working late at the office. Quarterly reports were due, and as the senior accountant at one of the biggest companies in Atlanta, I did not have the luxury of leaving early. By the time I got home, it was almost midnight. Raymond was already asleep, or at least I thought he was. I was getting undressed in the dark, trying not to wake him, when I heard his phone buzz on the nightstand. Now, normally, I would not have looked. I was not that kind of wife. 10 years of marriage, and I had never once gone through his phone. I trusted him. I believed in us. But something made me glance over. Maybe it was intuition. Maybe it was God trying to tell me something. Either way, I looked. The screen lit up with a text message, heart emojis, kiss emojis, and the words, "I miss you, baby, can't stop thinking about tonight." The contact name said, Mike from Golf. My heart stopped. I know that sounds dramatic, but I mean it literally. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. Mike from Golf. Raymond did not play golf with anyone named Mike. And even if he did, Mike would not be sending heart emojis at midnight talking about missing him. Raymond's hand shot out and grabbed the phone so fast it made me jump. "Just the guys," he mumbled, not even opening his eyes. "Planning a golf trip." I stood there in the dark. At midnight, you know how they are. He shoved the phone under his pillow. "Go to sleep, Denise." I did not sleep that night, not 1 minute. I lay there staring at the ceiling while my husband snored beside me, and I replayed that text message over and over in my mind. See, here is what you need to understand about me. I am not an emotional woman. I am an accountant. I deal in facts, numbers, evidence. I do not jump to conclusions. I analyze. I calculate. I verify. So instead of confronting Raymond right then and there, instead of crying and screaming and demanding answers, I did something else. I started watching. Over the next 2 weeks, I paid attention to everything. And once I started looking, I could not believe how much I had been missing. Raymond's gym sessions that used to be 1 hour were now 3 hours long. His business dinners happened every Thursday without fail. He had bought new cologne I had never smelled before, something expensive and musky, nothing like what he usually wore. His phone, which used to sit on the kitchen counter during dinner, now never left his pocket. When I asked to borrow it to look something up, he made an excuse about the battery dying. The password had changed. I knew because I tried it one morning while he was in the shower, and the old code no longer worked. Little things, 100 little things that by themselves meant nothing, but together painted a picture I did not want to see. My best friend Patricia noticed something was wrong before I even told her. We had been friends since nursing school. I had switched to accounting, but she had stayed in healthcare, worked her way up to HR director at a major hospital. Pat knew me better than anyone. We met for lunch on a Saturday, and before I even sat down, she looked at me and said, "Spill it, what's wrong?" So I told her. Everything. The text message, the late nights, the cologne, the password change, all of it. Patricia listened without interrupting. When I finished, she took a long sip of her wine and set the glass down with a look I had never seen before. "Denise," she said, "do not confront him." That surprised me. "What do you mean?" "I mean exactly what I said. Do not say a word. Do not let him know you suspect anything. But I need to know the truth. And you will get it." Patricia leaned forward. "But not by asking him. He will lie. He will gaslight you. He will make you feel crazy for even thinking it. That is what men like him do." "Men like him, Pat, you have known Raymond for 10 years. "I have known the Raymond he shows people. I am starting to think there is another Raymond. And if there is, you need proof before you make any moves." She reached into her purse and pulled out a business card, handed it to me across the table. "Private investigator," she said. "Discreet, thorough, worth every penny. My cousin used him when her husband was acting up. Got photos, videos, everything she needed for the divorce." I looked at that card for a long time. Part of me felt sick. What kind of wife hires someone to follow her husband? What kind of marriage had we become? But then I remembered those heart emojis. I remembered Raymond grabbing that phone like his life depended on it. I remembered all the nights he said he was working late, all the weekends he said he was meeting clients, all the lies I had been swallowing for God knows how long. I put the card in my purse. "You are not being paranoid," Patricia said softly. "And you are not being a bad wife. You are being smart. There is a difference." That night I went home and looked at my husband. Really looked at him. He was sitting on the couch watching the game, feet up, beer in hand, not a care in the world. He did not even look up when I walked in. "Hey, babe," he said to the television. "There's leftovers in the fridge if you're hungry." I stood there for a moment, watching the man I had built a life with, and I wondered how much of that life had been real. "Thanks," I said. "I'm going to take a shower." He grunted in response, eyes still on the game. The next morning I called the number on that business card, and that is when everything truly began. The private investigator's name was Marcus Webb. Former police detective, 20 years on the force, now ran his own agency. He was professional, discreet, and most importantly, he did not judge. I sat in his office that first day with my hands shaking. I told him everything I knew, which was not much. Suspicious texts, changed behavior, a gut feeling that would not go away. Marcus just nodded and took notes. When I finished, he looked up and said, "Mrs. Carter, I've been doing this for 15 years. I can tell you right now, your instincts are almost certainly right. Women know. They always know. They just need the proof to believe what they already feel." 2 weeks later, I had my proof. Marcus called me at work on a Friday afternoon. His voice was calm, but there was something underneath it. Sympathy, maybe, or pity. "Mrs. Carter," he said, "I need you to come to my office, today if possible. There are things you need to see." I left work early, told my assistant I had a migraine, drove across town with my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat, walked into Marcus's office and sat down in that same chair I had sat in 2 weeks before, except this time everything was different. Marcus opened a folder and spread photographs across his desk. My husband, with a woman, young, beautiful, dressed in clothes I could never afford on a teacher's salary. Not that I was a teacher, but you know what I mean. She was young enough to be my little sister, maybe 28, 29 at most. In one photo they were walking into a restaurant. His hand was on the small of her back, that intimate gesture he used to do with me when we were dating. In another, they were sitting across from each other at a table, candles between them, her hand in his. In the third, they were in a parking garage, kissing, his arms wrapped around her waist, her body pressed against his. I stared at those photos for a long time. I do not know how long, minutes maybe, hours it felt like. "Her name is Vanessa Brooks," Marcus said quietly. "She's 29 years old, works at the Mercedes dealership downtown. That's how they met, apparently. Your husband went in to look at cars about 2 years ago." 2 years. 2 years he had been doing this. 2 years of lies. 2 years of coming home to me, sleeping next to me, telling me he loved me while he was giving his heart to someone else. "There's more," Marcus said. Of course there was more. There is always more. He pulled out another set of documents, bank statements, credit card receipts, a lease agreement. "He's been paying for an apartment," Marcus explained. "Nice place downtown, $1,700 a month. They meet there several times a week, usually Thursdays and Saturdays." Thursdays, his business dinners. Saturdays, his golf trips with Mike. "The payments come from an account I assume you don't know about," Marcus continued. "He's been funneling money into it for about 3 years. Small amounts at first, but it's grown. Current balance is a little over $340,000. I felt like I'd been punched. $340,000? That's not possible. I would have noticed that much money missing. Marcus slid a document across the desk. "He's been skimming from your joint accounts. A few hundred here, 1,000 there. Always small enough to look like normal expenses. Groceries, gas, ATM withdrawals. Over 3 years it adds up." I picked up the paper. My hands were not shaking anymore. They were steady, cold, like something inside me had frozen solid. My husband had not just been cheating on me. He had been stealing from me. For 3 years. $340,000 of my money. Money I had earned through late nights and early mornings and sacrifices he never appreciated. All of it funneled into a secret account so he could spend it on his mistress. "There's one more thing," Marcus said. "I saved this for last because I want you to be prepared." I looked up at him. What else could there possibly be? He hesitated. That was when I knew it was going to be bad. "Vanessa Brooks is pregnant. About 4 months along from what my sources tell me." The room went silent. Everything went silent. The air itself seemed to stop moving. Pregnant. His mistress was pregnant. 10 years of marriage. 10 years of Raymond telling me the timing was not right for children. Too focused on his career. Too uncertain about finances. Always next year. Always later. Always some excuse. And now his 29-year-old girlfriend was carrying his baby. I sat in that chair for a long time after Marcus finished talking. He offered me water, tissues, a moment alone. I declined all of it. Because here is the thing nobody tells you about betrayal. Everyone expects you to fall apart, to cry, to scream, to rage against the injustice of it all. But I did not feel any of those things. What I felt was cold, clinical, like I was looking at the situation from very far away, analyzing it the way I would analyze a financial statement full of discrepancies and red flags. Raymond had created a problem, a very expensive problem, and now I was going to solve it. I stood up and gathered the evidence Marcus had collected. The photos, the bank statements, the lease agreement, all of it went into a folder that I tucked under my arm. "Thank you," I told Marcus. "I'll be in touch if I need anything else." He walked me to the door. "Mrs. Carter, I've seen a lot of women sit in that chair over the years. Most of them leave crying. You're not crying." I looked at him. "I'm an accountant, Mr. Webb. I don't cry over problems. I solve them." That night, I went home and cooked dinner like nothing had happened. Smiled when Raymond walked through the door, asked about his day, listened to his lies, and nodded in all the right places. Because I had realized something important, something that changed everything. Raymond thought he was in control. He thought he had the power. He thought his wife was a naive fool who would never suspect, never discover, never fight back. He was about to learn how wrong he was. It was a Sunday evening about 6 weeks before our anniversary when Raymond surprised me with what he thought was a wonderful idea. We were sitting in the living room after dinner. He had been unusually attentive all day, which immediately made me suspicious. Raymond was never attentive unless he wanted something. He took my hand, looked into my eyes, and said, "Baby, I've been thinking. Our 10th anniversary is coming up. A decade of marriage. That's something special." I nodded, waiting to see where this was going. "I want to celebrate it properly," he continued. "Not just a quiet dinner, something big, a party. We'll invite everyone, our families, our friends, our colleagues. I want the whole world to know how proud I am to be your husband." Now you need to understand something. In 10 years of marriage, Raymond had never planned a single event. Not a birthday, not a holiday dinner, not even a restaurant reservation. I had done everything, every single time. He could not even be bothered to pick up a phone and make a booking. And suddenly he wanted to plan a 200-person anniversary party. That sounds wonderful, I said, keeping my voice sweet. Are you sure you want to take on all that work? I'll handle everything, he insisted. The venue, the catering, the invitations. You just show up and look beautiful. That's your only job. I smiled at him. Whatever you want, baby. Inside, I was screaming, because I knew exactly what this party was for. This was not a celebration of our marriage. This was a funeral for it. Raymond was planning to announce his divorce in front of everyone we knew, humiliate me in public, and walk away with his pregnant girlfriend while I stood there in shock. He thought he was so clever. He thought he had it all figured out. What he did not know was that I had been 2 steps ahead of him for weeks. The confirmation came about 4 weeks before the party. I had come home early from work, something I almost never did. Raymond's car was in the driveway, but when I walked inside, the house was quiet. I assumed he was napping or on a call in his office. Then I heard voices coming from the backyard. The sliding door was cracked open, and Raymond's mother Evelyn was on speakerphone. I froze in the hallway, listened. "The party is the perfect time," Gloria was saying. That was Raymond's sister. "Everyone will be there. All of Denise's little friends, her family, everyone who thinks she's so perfect. They'll all see." "Finally," Mother Evelyn said. "My son deserves better than that woman. He always has." Raymond's voice came next. "Vanessa will come as Gloria's +1. Then when I make the announcement, she'll join me. The look on Denise's face is going to be priceless." Gloria laughed. "And she won't be able to do anything, not in front of all those people. She'll just have to stand there and take it." "She'll probably cry," Raymond said. I could hear the smile in his voice. "She'll definitely cry." "Good," Mother Evelyn said. "Let her cry. Maybe then she'll understand that she was never good enough for my son." I stood in that hallway for a long time after they hung up. My body was shaking. Not from sadness, not from hurt, from rage, all of them. His mother, his sister. All of them had known about Vanessa. All of them had been conspiring against me, laughing at me, waiting for this moment when they could watch me fall. 10 years I had been good to that family. 10 years I had smiled through Mother Evelyn's insults, pretended not to notice when Gloria treated me like a servant cleaned up after Raymond's failures, and made him look successful when he could not even hold a job. I had given them everything, my time, my money, my loyalty, and this was how they repaid me. That night, I sat alone in my car outside our house and made a series of phone calls. First, I called Patricia. "Emergency meeting tomorrow. Bring Nicole, and that lawyer friend of yours, the one who does divorces." Second, I called my cousin Marcus. He was a DJ, had his own equipment, did events all over the city. "That anniversary party Raymond is planning, I need you to be the DJ, and I need you to be ready to play something for me when I give the signal." Third, I called my Uncle James. Retired detective, raised me after my mama passed, the only father I ever really had. "Uncle James, I'm going to need your help, and I might need some of your friends from the force there too." By the time I walked back into that house, I had an army assembling behind me. Raymond was on the couch watching television when I came in. He looked up with that same smug smile, that same confidence of a man who thought he had already won. "Hey, babe," he said. "Everything okay?" I smiled at him. The same smile I had given him for 10 years. The same devoted, trusting, foolish smile of a woman who believed her husband loved her. "Everything is fine," I said. "Just excited about the party. It's going to be a night no one will ever forget." "That's my girl." He turned back to the television, already dismissing me. I walked upstairs to our bedroom and closed the door behind me. Raymond wanted to destroy me at our anniversary party. He wanted to humiliate me in front of everyone I loved, introduce his pregnant mistress, and leave me with nothing. He had given me 6 weeks to prepare, 6 weeks to gather every piece of evidence, 6 weeks to position my allies, 6 weeks to write the script for his downfall. My husband thought he was setting a trap. He had no idea he was walking into one. But there was one more thing I discovered, something even worse than the affair, something Raymond had been hiding for years, something that made me realize this was not just about betrayal, this was about survival. And when I found out what it was, that is when I knew exactly how far I was willing to go. The day after I overheard Raymond's plan, I got a phone call that changed everything. It was Nicole James. We had worked together for almost 8 years, and somewhere along the way she had become one of my closest friends. Nicole was a forensic accountant, the kind of woman who could look at a spreadsheet and tell you exactly where someone was hiding money. She had helped me trace Raymond's secret account, the $340,000 he had been stealing from our joint finances. But this call was different. There was an urgency in her voice I had never heard before. "Denise," she said, "you need to come to my office right now. There's something I found, something bad." I left work in the middle of the day, told my assistant I had a family emergency, drove across town with my heart pounding, wondering what could possibly be worse than what I already knew. When I walked into Nicole's office, she was surrounded by papers. Spreadsheets covered every surface. Her computer had multiple windows open, all showing bank statements and credit reports. She looked up at me with an expression I will never forget. It was the look you give someone before you deliver the worst news of their life. "Sit down," she said. I sat. "Denise, Raymond didn't just hide money from you." Nicole paused like she was trying to find the right words. "He's been destroying you financially, systematically, for years." She turned her computer screen toward me. On it was a credit report. My credit report. Except it did not look like mine. The score at the top of the page made my stomach drop. 520. My credit score had been 780. I had worked my entire adult life to build that score, paid every bill on time, never missed a payment, never carried a balance I could not afford, and now it was 520. "How is this possible?" My voice came out as a whisper. Nicole started pulling documents from the stacks around her. "He took out credit cards in your name, at least 6 that I've found so far, maxed them all out, never made a single payment." She handed me statements. Cards I had never seen, cards I had never applied for, thousands of dollars charged to each one, luxury items, restaurants, hotels, jewelry. "There's more," Nicole said. "He took out a line of credit against your house. Our house. The house is in your name, Denise. You put down the down payment. Your name is on the deed. But he forged your signature to take out a home equity line of credit, $75,000. All of it withdrawn, none of it repaid." I could not breathe. The room was spinning. Everything I had worked for, everything I had built was crumbling around me. "He also opened business accounts," Nicole continued. "Shell companies with your Social Security number attached. Took out loans for businesses that don't exist, another $50,000 there." She slid a piece of paper across the desk, a summary. "A tally of everything Raymond had done. Credit card debt in my name, $127,000. Home equity line of credit, $75,000. Business loans, $52,000. Total debt he had created in my name, $254,000. I stared at that number. $254,000. Money I did not borrow. Money I had never seen. Money I was now legally responsible for. "This isn't just infidelity," Nicole said quietly. "This is financial abuse. This is fraud. This is identity theft. Denise, what he's done to you is criminal." I sat there for a long time. The papers in my hands felt like weapons. Evidence of a war I did not even know was being fought against me. Raymond had not just been cheating on me with another woman. He had been systematically destroying my financial life. And if his plan had worked, if he had divorced me at that anniversary party the way he intended, I would have been left with nothing. Less than nothing. I would have been left with $250,000 in debt, a ruined credit score, and no way to prove that I had not done this to myself. He was going to walk away with his mistress and his hidden money while I drowned in the wreckage he had created. That was when something inside me shifted. The sadness I had been carrying, the grief over my marriage, the heartbreak of betrayal, all of it burned away. What replaced it was something harder, something colder. Fury. "Can we prove this?" I asked. My voice was steady now, calm, dangerous. Nicole nodded. "Every bit of it. I have paper trails for everything. The forged signatures don't match your handwriting. The notary who approved the home equity loan has a history of taking bribes. The credit card applications were submitted from IP addresses that trace back to Raymond's office computer." "Good." I stood up, gathered the documents into a folder. "I want copies of everything, and I want you at a meeting tomorrow morning, Patricia's place, 7 a.m. We're building a case." Nicole looked at me with something like admiration. "Denise, most women would be falling apart right now." I looked back at her. "I'm an accountant, Nicole. I don't fall apart. I balance the books. And right now, Raymond owes me a debt he's going to pay in full." That night, I went home and cooked dinner like nothing had happened, smiled when Raymond walked through the door, listened to his lies about his day at work. But inside, I was different. Inside, I was done being a victim. My husband wanted to destroy me. Fine, but he had forgotten one important thing. I was better at numbers than he would ever be, and the numbers were about to destroy him. The next morning at 7 a.m., I pulled up to Patricia's house with a trunk full of evidence and a heart full of fire. Patricia lived in a beautiful brownstone in the historic district. Her husband traveled for work, so she had the place to herself most of the time. It was the perfect location for what I was about to do. When I walked in, they were already there. My sister circle, my army. Patricia was setting up coffee in the dining room. Nicole had spread her documents across the table, organizing them into neat stacks. And sitting in the corner reviewing a legal pad full of notes was Carmen Rodriguez. Carmen was a divorce attorney, one of the best in the city. She had handled cases for politicians, athletes, executives. People with money and power who needed their divorces handled with precision and discretion. She was also a member of our church, and when Patricia told her what Raymond had done, she volunteered to take my case pro bono. "By the time I'm done with him," Carmen had said, "he won't have bus fare." I set my folder on the table and looked at the three women who had dropped everything to help me. "Thank you for being here," I said. "All of you." Patricia waved her hand. "Girl, please, I've been waiting for this day for years. That man never deserved you." "Let's focus," Nicole said, all business. "Denise, show them what we found." For the next hour, I laid out everything: the affair, the hidden bank account, the stolen money, the forged signatures, the destroyed credit, the pregnancy, Raymond's plan to humiliate me at the anniversary party. By the time I finished, Patricia was pacing the room like a caged tiger. Carmen was taking notes so fast her pen was smoking, and Nicole was adding documents to an evidence board she had set up on the wall. "This man," Patricia said through clenched teeth, "this man sat in your house, ate your food, spent your money, and was planning to throw you out like garbage. And his mama knew. And his sister knew. They were all in on it." "They were," I confirmed. "I heard them on the phone, laughing about it." Carmen looked up from her notes. "Denise, I need to ask you some questions about the house, about your finances, about what you brought into this marriage." "Ask me anything." "The house. It's in your name." "Yes. My grandmother left me an inheritance when she passed. $80,000. I used it for the down payment. Grandma insisted the deed be in my name only. She never trusted Raymond." Carmen smiled. "Smart woman. And the mortgage payments? All me. Auto pay from my account for 10 years. Raymond never contributed a dime." "What about his income?" I almost laughed. "What income? Raymond hasn't held a steady job in years. He calls himself a real estate developer, but he's never actually developed anything. Every business he's started, I funded. Every one of them failed." "The cars?" "Both in my name. His credit was too bad to get approved for a loan. I co-signed for his car. Actually, no, I didn't co-sign. The loan is entirely in my name. He just drives it." Carmen was writing furiously. "Furniture, appliances, anything of value in the house." All purchased by me, my credit cards, my money. Carmen set down her pen and looked at me with an expression of disbelief. Denise, do you understand what you're telling me? I'm telling you he's a leech who's been living off me for a decade. You're telling me you own everything. Legally, on paper, you own everything. The house is yours. The cars are yours. The furniture is yours. Raymond brought nothing into this marriage, and according to these documents, he contributed nothing during it. Nicole chimed in. He did contribute something. $254,000 in debt. In her name. Carmen nodded grimly. Which we can prove is fraud. Denise, in this state, assets acquired during marriage are usually split equally. But there are exceptions. Inheritance is separate property. Assets in one spouse's name only can be argued as separate property if the other spouse made no contributions. What are you saying? I'm saying Raymond might walk out of this marriage with nothing. Not half, not a quarter, nothing. And if we pursue criminal charges for the fraud and identity theft, he could be facing jail time. Patricia clapped her hands. Now we're talking. Let's bury this man. Carmen held up a hand. We need to be strategic. When does he want to have this party? 5 weeks from now. And he's planning to announce the divorce there in front of everyone. Yes, he wants to humiliate me. Introduce Vanessa as his new woman. Make me look like the fool. Carmen leaned back in her chair. Then we let him. Everyone looked at her. We let him set up his little show. We let him think he's in control. And then at the moment he thinks he's won, we pull the rug out from under him. Carmen smiled. It was not a nice smile. Denise, how would you feel about serving him divorce papers at his own party? My heart started beating faster. Keep talking. We file everything quietly, prepare the documents, gather all the evidence. On the night of the party, you let him make his announcement, let him introduce his mistress, let him think he's destroyed you. And then you step up to that microphone and you show everyone exactly who Raymond Carter really is. Patricia was grinning. The video. We play the video. What video? Carmen asked. I had almost forgotten. Marcus, my private investigator, had not just taken photos. He had gotten video footage. Audio of Raymond and Vanessa in their apartment. Raymond calling me stupid. Raymond bragging about his plan. Raymond saying he had been scheming for 3 years. I have a video, I said. Raymond and his mistress, talking about their plan, talking about me. He says I'm stupid. He says I'll never figure it out. He says once he divorces me, he'll have everything I've been slaving for. Carmen's eyes lit up. Can we play it on a screen? Somewhere everyone can see. My cousin Marcus is a DJ. He does events. I already asked him to work the party. He's on our side. The room went quiet as everyone processed what we were planning. Patricia spoke first. So Raymond stands up, makes his big announcement, thinks he's won, and then the video plays. And everyone sees exactly who he is, his family, his friends, his colleagues, all of them. And then, Carmen added, I walk up and serve him divorce papers in front of everyone while he's still in shock. Nicole was practically bouncing. And I hand out copies of the financial evidence, let people see the fraud, the theft, the destroyed credit. I looked around at my sister circle, my army, 3 women who were willing to go to war for me. There's one more thing, I said. My Uncle James. He's retired police. He still has connections on the force. I want officers there that night. When the evidence comes out, I want Raymond to know that criminal charges are on the table. Carmen nodded. We can arrange that. A detective from the fraud division, someone who's already reviewed the case. Then let's do it. I stood up and placed my hands on the table. Raymond wants a show. We're going to give him a show he'll remember for the rest of his life. Patricia raised her coffee cup. To the downfall of Raymond Carter. Nicole raised hers. To justice. Carmen raised hers. To Denise. Who's about to teach that man what happens when you underestimate a black woman? I raised my cup with them. To the anniversary party from hell. We clinked our cups together. The plan was set. The trap was ready. All that was left was the performance. The next 5 weeks were the longest of my life. Every day I woke up next to the man who was planning to destroy me. Every night I cooked his dinner, washed his clothes, smiled at his jokes. I played the role of the perfect clueless wife, while my army worked behind the scenes to build the case that would end him. It was exhausting, but it was also exhilarating, because for the first time in years, I had power, real power, the power of knowledge, the power of preparation, the power of knowing exactly what was coming, while Raymond walked around like he owned the world. He was so confident, so arrogant. He had no idea that every time he left the house to meet Vanessa, my private investigator was documenting it. He had no idea that Nicole was tracing every dollar he had ever stolen. He had no idea that Carmen was preparing divorce papers that would strip him of everything he thought he was going to take from me. I watched him strut around our house, talking on the phone with his mama, making plans with his sister, and I smiled. Because soon, very soon, that strut was going to turn into a crawl. 2 weeks before the party, I did something I had not done in years. I went shopping for myself. Patricia, Nicole, and I spent an entire Saturday at the mall. Not the discount stores I usually went to, the nice stores, the expensive ones, the ones I never let myself visit, because I was always saving money, always being responsible, always making sure Raymond had what he needed. Not anymore. "You need a dress," Patricia said, pulling me toward a boutique with gowns in the window. "Something that says, 'I am a queen, and you are about to bow down.'" Nicole laughed. "Something red, powerful, unforgettable." We must have tried on 30 dresses, some too flashy, some too plain, some that made me look like I was trying too hard, and some that did not try hard enough. And then I found it. It was red. Deep, rich wine red, floor length with a slit up the side, fitted perfectly to every curve, the kind of dress that makes everyone in the room stop and stare. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I saw someone I had forgotten existed. Not Raymond's wife, not the woman who paid the bills and cleaned the house and made herself small so her husband could feel big. I saw Denise, just Denise, strong and beautiful and ready for war. "That's the one," Patricia whispered. I bought it without even looking at the price. While I was preparing myself, my team was preparing everything else. Carmen filed the divorce papers quietly. No announcements, no alerts. Raymond had no idea that the moment he made his big announcement at the party, he would be served with documents that would end his marriage on my terms, not his. She also prepared a civil suit for the fraud. Every forged signature, every unauthorized loan, every stolen dollar was documented and ready to be presented. Raymond was not just going to lose his wife. He was going to face the legal consequences of what he had done. Nicole organized the financial evidence into packets. 200 copies, one for every guest at the party. Each packet contained a summary of Raymond's theft, the forged documents, the proof that he had systematically destroyed my credit while hiding hundreds of thousands of dollars for himself. By the end of the night, everyone would know exactly who Raymond Carter was. My Uncle James coordinated with his contacts at the police department. A detective from the fraud division agreed to attend the party, not in uniform, but ready to take Raymond in for questioning if the evidence warranted it. And based on what Nicole had found, it absolutely warranted it. And my cousin Marcus prepared the technical side of things. He would be the DJ that night, controlling the music and the screens. The video of Raymond and Vanessa was loaded and ready. All I had to do was give the signal, say. Raymond, of course, noticed none of this. He was too busy planning his own little surprise. He thought he was so clever. He had rented a beautiful venue, a ballroom in one of the nicest hotels downtown. He had hired caterers and florists and photographers. He had sent out invitations to everyone we knew, making sure they would all be there to witness what he thought would be my humiliation. What he did not know was that I had been in contact with every vendor he hired. The venue manager, Patricia's sorority sister. She gave me a copy of the contract and agreed to let us control the AV equipment. The caterer, a client of Carmen's. She made sure I knew the full menu and timeline. The florist, a member of our church. She told me exactly how the room would be arranged. Everyone was on my side. Everyone was ready. Raymond was walking into a trap he had built himself, and he did not even know it. 3 weeks before the party, Gloria called me, Raymond's sister. The woman who had been conspiring against me, who owed me $15,000, she never intended to pay back, who was going to bring Vanessa as her +1, so Raymond could reveal his mistress to the world. "Hey, girl," Gloria said, sweet as poison. "Just calling to check in about the party. Raymond said you might need some help with the planning." I almost laughed. This woman wanted to help me plan my own ambush. "That's so sweet of you," I said. "Actually, everything is under control. Raymond has been handling it all. I'm just going to show up and look pretty." "Well, you know me and Mama are here if you need anything." Yes, I knew exactly where Gloria and Mama were. And I knew exactly where they would be on the night of the party, front row seats to their own humiliation. "I appreciate that," I said. "It's going to be a night to remember." "It really is," Gloria agreed. I could hear the smirk in her voice. "Oh, Gloria, you have no idea." The days ticked by. Each one brought me closer to the moment I had been waiting for. I went to work. I came home. I smiled at Raymond. I counted down the hours, and every night after Raymond fell asleep, I would go to the bathroom, lock the door, and look at myself in the mirror. I would remind myself of who I was, who I had always been before I let him make me small. I was Denise Carter, senior accountant, daughter of a strong black woman who raised me to never let anyone break me, granddaughter of a woman who knew Raymond was trash before I ever did. I was the woman who had paid for everything, built everything, earned everything, and I was about to take it all back. The night before the party, Raymond came home with flowers, red roses, a dozen of them, the same flowers he had brought me on our first date, our wedding day, our first anniversary, the flowers I used to love before I knew what kind of man was giving them to me. "For my beautiful wife," he said, handing them over with that smile, that charming, deceitful smile that I now saw for exactly what it was. "I can't believe it's been 10 years. I took the flowers, breathed in their scent, looked at the man I had shared a decade with. 10 years, I repeated. It's hard to believe how much has changed. He wrapped his arms around me, pulled me close. I could smell cologne, expensive cologne that I had not bought for him. Cologne that was probably a gift from Vanessa. "Tomorrow is going to be special," Raymond said. "I've been planning this for a long time. I want it to be perfect." "I bet you do," I thought. "I've been thinking a lot about our marriage," I said. "About everything we've been through, everything we've built together." Raymond's eyes flickered with something. Nervousness, guilt. It was hard to tell with a man who had been lying for so long. "We've been through a lot," he agreed, "and tomorrow everything changes." Those words hung in the air between us. He meant them one way, I heard them another. "Yes," I said. "Tomorrow everything changes." Later that night, Raymond left, said he needed to go check on something at the venue, make sure everything was ready for the big day. I knew where he was really going, to Vanessa's apartment, to spend one last night with his mistress before he announced her to the world, to laugh about how perfectly his plan was coming together. Let him go, let him have his night. Tomorrow would be mine. After he left, I sat alone in our living room, the same living room where I had served him dinner for 10 years, the same couch where I had massaged his feet after his long days of doing nothing, the same house that I had paid for, maintained, filled with furniture and love and hope, all of it wasted on a man who never deserved any of it. I pulled out my phone and sent a message to the group chat. "Patricia, Nicole, Carmen, Uncle James, Cousin Marcus, my army, my family by choice. Tomorrow," I wrote. "We're ready." Patricia responded first. "Been ready. That man has had this coming for years." Nicole. "Evidence packets printed and loaded in my car, 200 copies." Carmen. "Divorce papers signed and sealed. I'll be there by 7. Uncle James. "Detective Morrison confirmed. He'll be in plain clothes. I'll have 2 officers on standby outside." Cousin Marcus. "Video loaded, speakers tested. Just give me the signal, cuz." I read their messages over and over. These were the people who had my back, the people who saw my worth when my own husband did not, the people who were willing to fight for me, stand with me, hold me up when I wanted to fall down. I typed one last message. "Thank you, all of you. I couldn't do this without you." Patricia replied, "Girl, you could do this alone. You're just letting us have fun too." I laughed, actually laughed out loud in my empty living room. And then I cried. Not because I was sad, Not because I was scared, because I was grateful. Because despite everything Raymond had done to me, despite the betrayal and the theft and the lies, I was not alone. I was surrounded by people who loved me. And tomorrow I was going to show them all that their faith in me was not misplaced. I walked upstairs to the bedroom, to the closet where my red dress was hanging hidden behind old coats Raymond never noticed. I touched the fabric, felt its weight in my hands. Tomorrow I would walk into that ballroom, looking like the queen I had always been. Tomorrow I would smile at Raymond's little announcement, let him think he had won. And then I would take that microphone and I would show every single person in that room exactly what their golden boy had done. The stolen money, the forged signatures, the secret apartment, the pregnant mistress, the years of lies, all of it, every last bit of it. Raymond wanted to humiliate me. He was about to learn the true meaning of humiliation. I went to sleep that night with a peace I had not felt in months. No more wondering, no more worrying, no more waiting for the other shoe to drop. The shoes were about to drop all right. Both of them, right on Raymond's head. My last thought before I drifted off was of my grandmother, the woman who had given me the inheritance that bought this house, the woman who had insisted my name be on the deed, the woman who had looked at Raymond on our wedding day and said, "Baby, you can do better." I wish you were here, Grandma, I thought. You were right about him all along. But do not worry. Tomorrow I am going to make you proud. I closed my eyes and dreamed of justice. And when I woke up the next morning, it was time to serve it. The day of my 10th anniversary party arrived with perfect weather. Clear skies, warm breeze, golden sunset. Like even God wanted good lighting for what was about to happen. I spent the morning getting ready. Hair done at Patricia's salon, styled in an elegant updo that made me look like royalty. Makeup, flawless, dramatic eyes, bold red lips to match my dress. Nails freshly done, deep burgundy, sharp enough to cut. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I did not see the tired, defeated woman Raymond had been married to for the past few years. I saw someone else, someone powerful, someone ready. Patricia picked me up at 6. Nicole and Carmen were already at the venue making sure everything was in place. Uncle James had arrived early with Detective Morrison, both of them blending in with the catering staff, watching waiting. "You look like a whole new woman," Patricia said as I got into her car. "I feel like one." "You ready for this?" I looked at her, my best friend, the woman who had stood by me through everything, who had held me when I cried and pushed me when I wanted to give up. "I've been ready for 3 months," I said. "Let's go end this man's whole career." We arrived at the venue at 6:45. The ballroom was stunning. Crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, white roses everywhere. A stage at the front with a podium and a massive screen behind it. Round tables draped in white linen, each one set with fine china and gold silverware. Raymond had really outdone himself. Too bad he was paying for his own funeral. Guests started arriving at 7. Family first, then friends, then colleagues. 200 people all dressed in their finest, all there to celebrate what they thought was a decade of happy marriage. I stood at the entrance with Raymond greeting everyone as they came in, smiling, hugging, playing the role of the happy wife one last time. "Denise, you look amazing." 10 years! Can you believe it? "You two are such an inspiration." I smiled at all of them, thanked them for coming, told them how blessed I was to have such wonderful people in my life, and the whole time I watched Raymond's mother Evelyn arrive in her expensive dress, the one she had probably bought with money Raymond stole from me. She kissed her son on the cheek and looked at me with that same cold smile she had been giving me for 10 years. "Denise," she said, "you look nice." "Thank you, Mother Evelyn. So do you." I watched Gloria arrive next. Raymond's sister, the woman who owed me $15,000 and was about to help destroy my marriage. She was wearing a dress I had never seen before, probably new, probably bought with money she claimed she did not have when I asked for my loan back. And on her arm was a young woman I had never met, beautiful, pregnant, smiling like she had already won. Vanessa Brooks. She walked right past me without a word, did not even look at me, just smiled at Raymond like they were sharing a private joke. I let her pass. Let them all pass. Let them think they were about to witness my downfall. The party flowed the way parties do. Cocktail hour, appetizers, mingling and laughter and champagne toasts, everyone having a wonderful time. I floated through it like a ghost, smiling when I was supposed to smile, laughing when I was supposed to laugh. But inside I was counting down the minutes. At 8:30, dinner was served. Everyone took their seats. Raymond and I sat at the head table along with his mother, his sister, and Gloria's friend Vanessa. She was sitting 3 chairs away from me. The woman who had been sleeping with my husband for 2 years, the woman who was carrying his child, the woman who thought she was about to become the new Mrs. Carter. She caught me looking at her once, gave me a little smirk, like she knew something I did not. "Oh, sweetheart, you have no idea what is coming." Dinner passed in a blur. I barely tasted the food. My eyes kept drifting to the stage, to the screen behind the podium, to my cousin Marcus at the DJ booth watching me waiting for the signal. Patricia was at a table near the front. Nicole was near the back, a box of evidence packets hidden under her chair. Carmen was by the door, divorce papers in her purse. Uncle James and Detective Morrison were positioned near the exits. Everyone was ready. At 9:15, Raymond stood up. He tapped his champagne glass with a fork, and the room fell silent. "Everyone," he said, his voice carrying across the ballroom, "can I have your attention, please?" 200 faces turned toward him, 200 people who had come to celebrate our marriage, 200 witnesses to what was about to happen. Raymond smiled, that charming, confident smile that had fooled me for 10 years. 10 years ago, he began, I married the woman sitting next to me, and he gestured toward me. I smiled, the dutiful wife adoring her husband. 10 years of marriage, Raymond continued. 10 years of memories, 10 years of building a life together. He paused, looked around the room, locked eyes with Vanessa for just a moment. Here it comes, I thought. And tonight, Raymond said, I have an announcement to make, an announcement that's going to change everything. He turned to look at me. There was something in his eyes, anticipation, excitement, the thrill of a predator about to pounce. But first, I said, standing up beside him, I have a little surprise of my own. Raymond's smile faltered, just for a second, just enough for me to see the confusion in his eyes. Baby, he said, reaching for my arm. What are you doing? I stepped away from him, walked toward the DJ booth, toward my cousin Marcus, toward the moment I had been waiting for since the day I found out who my husband really was. I've prepared a little video, I announced to the room. A tribute to our 10 years together, something I think everyone here needs to see. I looked at Raymond. He was frozen at the head table, his champagne glass still in his hand, his face a mask of uncertainty. Marcus, I said, play the video. The screen behind the stage flickered to life, and Raymond Carter's world began to burn. The video started playing on the massive screen, and the room went completely silent. It was footage from Raymond's apartment. The secret apartment he had been paying for with my money. The apartment where he met Vanessa every Thursday and Saturday while I sat at home thinking he was working or playing golf. In the video, Raymond was lying on a bed. Vanessa was next to him, her head on his chest. They were talking, laughing, completely unaware that my private investigator had planted a camera in that apartment 3 weeks ago. Baby, Vanessa said on the screen, are you sure about the party? What if Denise finds out before then? Raymond laughed, that same laugh I had heard 1,000 times, except now it sounded different. Now it sounded cruel. Denise, he said, please. That woman doesn't suspect a thing. She's too busy working to pay attention to anything else. I've been doing this for 2 years and she hasn't figured it out yet. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. Heads turned, eyes widened. 200 people were watching my husband confess his affair on a screen the size of a movie theater. But the video was not done. What about after the party? Vanessa asked. When you announce everything, what happens then? Then we take everything she's been working for, Raymond said. The house, the cars, the savings, half of it is mine by law. And once I divorce her, once I'm free of that boring, nagging woman, we can start our real life together. I heard someone gasp behind me. I did not turn around. I kept my eyes on the screen, on my husband's face, on the words coming out of his mouth. "She's so stupid," Raymond continued. 10 years of marriage and she still thinks I love her. She has no idea I've been planning this for 3 years, moving money, setting up accounts, getting everything in place. Vanessa giggled. "And the baby? When do we tell everyone about the baby?" Raymond smiled and put his hand on her stomach. "Tonight. At the party, right after I announce I'm leaving, Denise, I'll introduce you to everyone. Let them see the woman who's giving me what Denise never could." The video ended. The screen went black. The ballroom was silent. 200 people sat frozen in their seats, champagne glasses suspended in mid-air, mouths hanging open in shock. I turned to face the room, to face Raymond. He was still standing at the head table. His face had gone from confusion to horror to something I had never seen before. Fear. Pure, unfiltered fear. "Denise," he stammered. "That's not... I can explain." "Explain what, Raymond?" I walked toward him slowly. My heels clicked on the marble floor. Every step echoed in the silence. "Explain how you've been cheating on me for 2 years. Explain how you've been stealing my money. Explain how you brought your pregnant mistress to our anniversary party so you could humiliate me in front of everyone we know." I stopped in front of him, looked up into his eyes, the eyes that had lied to me for a decade. "Or maybe you want to explain this..." I pulled a folder from my purse, the folder Nicole had prepared, the one with all the evidence of his financial crimes. $340,000, I said loud enough for the whole room to hear. "That's how much you've been hiding in a secret bank account, money you stole from our joint accounts, money I earned while you sat at home pretending to be a businessman." I pulled out another document. $127,000 in credit card debt, in my name. Cards I never applied for. Cards you opened using my Social Security number. Another document. $75,000 in a home equity line of credit against my house Raymond, the one I bought with my grandmother's inheritance, the one you forged my signature to steal from. Another document. $52,000 in business loans for companies that don't exist, all in my name, all fraud, all identity theft. I threw the folder on the table in front of him, papers scattered everywhere, evidence of every crime he had committed against me. "You wanted to announce something tonight," I said. "Let me help you. Ladies and gentlemen, my husband is a cheater, a liar, a thief, and as of tonight, my ex-husband." I turned to Carmen, who was already walking toward the stage. "Raymond Carter." Carmen said, her voice clear and professional. "You've been served." She handed him the divorce papers. He took them automatically, too shocked to do anything else. "You'll notice I'm requesting full ownership of the house, the cars, and all marital assets," I continued. "Seeing as how you contributed nothing to this marriage except debt and lies, I don't think that's unreasonable." Raymond finally found his voice. "You can't do this. Half of everything is mine. We were married for 10 years. "Actually," Nicole stood up from her table, "nothing is yours. The house was purchased with Denise's inheritance and is in her name only. The cars are in her name. The furniture was purchased with her credit cards. You have contributed approximately $15,000 to this marriage over 10 years, which averages out to $125 a month. You didn't even cover the cable bill." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Nervous, shocked laughter, but laughter nonetheless. Mother Evelyn stood up. Her face was red with rage. "How dare you?" she spat at me. "How dare you humiliate my son like this, in front of everyone?" "Your son humiliated himself," I replied. "And you helped him. I heard you, Evelyn, on the phone with Gloria, planning this whole thing, laughing about how you were finally going to get rid of me." I turned to Gloria, who was trying to sink into her chair and disappear. "And you brought his mistress here as your +1. Your $15,000 owing conspiracy-committing self actually thought you were going to watch me get destroyed tonight." I looked at Vanessa. She was crying, mascara running down her face, the smug smile from earlier completely gone. "And you." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "You thought you were getting a wealthy man, a successful businessman who was going to give you the life you deserved. But the truth is, Everything Raymond has I paid for. Every suit he wears, every restaurant he took you to, every gift he bought you. All of it came from my bank account. I pulled out one more document, a printout from Raymond's secret account. Including the $40,000 engagement ring he bought you last month. You're welcome. Vanessa's hand went to her finger, to the ring Raymond had given her, the ring she thought meant he loved her, the ring that had been purchased with my money. You're crazy, Raymond finally exploded. You're insane. This is entrapment. This is illegal. I'll sue you for everything you have. Uncle James stepped forward from the crowd. Next to him was Detective Morrison. Actually, Mr. Carter, the detective said, pulling out his badge, I'm Detective Morrison from the Fraud Division. I've been reviewing the evidence against you for the past 2 weeks. Forged signatures, unauthorized credit applications, fraudulent loans. You're looking at multiple felony charges. Raymond's face went white. I'm not placing you under arrest at this time, the detective continued, but I strongly suggest you don't leave town. We'll be in touch first thing Monday morning. The room erupted, people talking over each other, some rushing to leave, others pulling out their phones to record, Mother Evelyn screaming about lawyers, Gloria crying about how it wasn't her fault, Vanessa sobbing into her hands, and Raymond. Raymond just stood there, holding divorce papers in one hand and his champagne glass in the other. The man who had walked into this party thinking he was about to destroy me, now he couldn't even stand. I walked back to the microphone, tapped it once to get everyone's attention. I want to thank you all for coming tonight, I said. I know this isn't the anniversary party you were expecting, but I hope you can understand why I did this. For 10 years I was a good wife, a faithful wife. I paid the bills, I supported his dreams, I took care of his family, and this is how he repaid me. I looked around the room, at my family, my friends, my colleagues, the people who had watched me slowly disappear into this marriage. I'm not doing this for revenge, I continued. I'm doing this because I deserve the truth, and so does everyone who's ever believed Raymond Carter was a good man. I looked at Raymond one last time. You wanted a show, baby. I hope it was everything you dreamed of. Then I walked off of that stage through the crowd, past the tables of stunned guests, and out into the cool night air. Behind me I could hear the chaos continuing, Raymond screaming, his mother crying, Vanessa wailing. But I didn't look back. I had spent 10 years looking back, wondering what I did wrong, wondering why I wasn't enough, wondering how to make him love me. That was over now. Tonight I walked forward, into my future, into my freedom, and I never looked back again. Patricia found me outside. I was standing in the parking lot looking up at the stars, breathing in the night air like I had never tasted oxygen before. Girl, she said, wrapping her arms around me from behind, that was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life. I laughed, actually laughed. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt light, like a weight I did not even know I was carrying had finally been lifted off my shoulders. Is it over? I asked. Baby, it's just beginning. But the hard part, yeah, that's done. She turned me around to face her. There were tears in her eyes, happy tears. I am so proud of you, she said. Do you understand that I am so proud of who you are? What you just did in there that took more courage than most people have in their entire lives. Before I could respond, Nicole and Carmen came outside. Nicole was grinning from ear to ear. Carmen was on her phone, but she was smiling too. The evidence packets are distributed, Nicole said. Everyone at that party now knows exactly what Raymond did. His business partners, his golf buddies, his church friends, everyone. And I just got off the phone with a colleague at the DA's office, Carmen added. They're very interested in the fraud case. With the evidence we have, Raymond is looking at serious charges. We're talking potential prison time. I leaned against Patricia's car and let that sink in. Prison. Raymond might actually go to prison for what he did to me. What about Vanessa? I asked. Nicole shrugged. Last I saw, she was crying in the bathroom. Gloria was trying to comfort her, but I don't think it's going well. Turns out, finding out your boyfriend is broke a criminal and still legally married can really ruin a girl's night. And Mother Evelyn. Screaming at anyone who will listen about how this is all your fault, Patricia said. Apparently you've always been jealous of Raymond, and this is your revenge for him being more successful than you." I shook my head. Even now, even with all the evidence right in front of her, that woman could not admit her son was a monster. "What happens now?" I asked Carmen. "Now you go home. Get some sleep. Let me handle the legal stuff. The divorce should be finalized within a few months. Given the circumstances and the evidence of fraud, I don't expect Raymond to contest anything. He's going to be too busy trying to stay out of prison. And the debt. The credit cards he opened in my name. We file fraud claims with every creditor. With the evidence we have, plus the criminal investigation, we should be able to get all of it dismissed. Your credit will take some time to recover, but you won't be responsible for any of Raymond's theft." I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. For months, I had been carrying the weight of what Raymond had done. The betrayal, the theft, the fear of losing everything. And now finally it was over. "Let's go home," I said. Patricia drove me back to my house. My house. The house I had paid for. The house that had always been mine, even when Raymond tried to steal it from me. When we pulled into the driveway, I noticed something. Raymond's car was gone. His parking spot, the one closest to the door, the one he had claimed as his, because he was the man of the house, was empty. "Looks like he got the message," Patricia said. I walked inside. The house felt different, lighter. Like the walls themselves knew that the darkness had finally been expelled. I walked through every room. The living room where I had served him for 10 years, the kitchen where I had cooked his meals, the bedroom where I had slept next to a stranger. Every space that had been poisoned by his presence now felt clean, ready for a new beginning. In the bedroom, I noticed that some of his things were gone. Not everything, just the essentials. Clothes, toiletries. His laptop. He must have come by while we were at the party, grabbed what he could, and fled. Good. I did not want to see him anyway. I found a note on the pillow. His handwriting. "You'll regret this. I'll make you pay for what you did." I read it once. Then I crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. Empty threats from an empty man. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. The story of the anniversary party spread like wildfire. Someone had recorded the whole thing on their phone and posted it online. Within days, it had been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. News outlets picked it up. Blogs wrote about it. I became overnight a symbol of women who refused to be victims. I did not ask for the attention, did not want it honestly. But if my story could help one woman recognize the signs of financial abuse, if it could inspire one person to fight back against a partner who was destroying them, then it was worth it. Raymond tried to fight the divorce. Of course he did. Men like him never go down without a struggle. He hired a lawyer, claimed the video was illegally obtained, claimed I had conspired to entrap him, claimed the evidence was fabricated. None of it worked. Carmen destroyed every argument he made. The video was recorded in an apartment he was renting with stolen money. The evidence was compiled from public records and legally obtained financial documents. There was no entrapment because he had committed all his crimes long before I knew about them. The judge saw through his lies. Everyone did. 6 weeks after the party, the divorce was finalized. I got the house. I got both cars. I got the furniture, the savings, everything. Raymond walked away with nothing except the clothes on his back and a mountain of legal problems. 3 months after the party, Raymond was formally charged with fraud, identity theft, and financial abuse. The evidence was overwhelming. The DA offered him a plea deal, 18 months in a minimum security facility, plus full restitution to me for everything he had stolen. He took the deal. He had no choice. I was in the courtroom when the judge read the sentence. Raymond stood there in his orange jumpsuit, looking nothing like the confident, charming man who had fooled me for 10 years. He looked small, defeated, broken. Part of me wanted to feel sorry for him, a small, foolish part that still remembered the man I thought I married. But then I remembered the video, the way he laughed when he called me stupid, the way he bragged about destroying my life, the way he brought his pregnant mistress to our anniversary party to humiliate me in front of everyone I loved. No, I did not feel sorry for Raymond Carter. I felt free. 6 months after that anniversary party, I woke up in my house on a Saturday morning and I did not recognize my life. Not because it was bad, because it was good. So good that sometimes I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real. I made coffee in my kitchen, sat on my porch in my robe, watched the sun rise over my garden, and I felt something I had not felt in years. Peace. The house was different now. I had repainted every room, new colors, bright colors, colors that Raymond would have hated, which made me love them even more. I had donated all the furniture we had picked out together and bought new pieces, things I actually liked, things that were mine. The garden was blooming. I had planted it myself over the past few months, roses and tulips and sunflowers. Every morning I walked through it with my coffee, watching things grow. It felt symbolic. Everything in my life was growing now. Everything was blooming. My credit score had recovered. Nicole helped me dispute all the fraudulent accounts, and one by one they were removed from my record. I was back up to 745 and climbing. Not quite where I had been before Raymond destroyed it, but getting there, getting better every day. I had been promoted at work, Senior Vice President of Finance, a position I had been passed over for twice while I was married because I was always too stressed, too distracted, too weighed down by the disaster that was my home life. Now, without that weight, I was thriving. My boss said he had never seen me so focused, so energized, so alive. He was right. I was alive. For the first time in 10 years, I was actually living. Patricia and I had dinner every Friday night. Sometimes Nicole and Carmen joined us. We called ourselves the Sister Circle, and we had made it official. Once a month, we hosted a meeting at Patricia's house for women going through difficult situations: divorce, abuse, financial problems. We offered support resources connections. We helped women the way they had helped me. It had grown bigger than I ever expected. Word spread. Women reached out. Last month, we had 40 people at our meeting. 40 women who needed to know they were not alone. 40 women who needed to see that there was life on the other side of their pain. I started speaking publicly about financial abuse. At first it was just small events, a women's group at church, a seminar at the local community center. But then bigger opportunities came, a conference for domestic violence survivors, a panel at a women's empowerment summit, a feature article in a national magazine. My story resonated with people, not because it was unique, but because it was common. So many women had experienced what I experienced: a partner who controlled the money, a spouse who created debt in their name, a husband who slowly, systematically destroyed their financial independence while they were too busy working and caring for everyone else to notice. I told my story over and over, and every time I told it, I saw women in the audience nodding, crying, recognizing themselves. If even one of them went home and checked their credit report, if even one of them started asking questions about the family finances, if even one of them realized they needed to protect themselves, then it was worth it. Raymond was still in prison. He had 8 months left on his sentence. I heard through the grapevine that he was not doing well. Turns out, a man who spent his whole life being charming and manipulative does not adjust well to a place where charm and manipulation do not work. I did not visit him, did not write to him, did not think about him much at all, honestly. He was a chapter of my life that was closed, finished, done. Vanessa had her baby, a little boy. The paternity test confirmed what everyone suspected: it was not Raymond's. She had been cheating on him too. Some other man, someone she met at her job, was the actual father. The irony was not lost on me. Raymond thought he was going to leave me for a woman who was loyal to him. Turned out she was just as much a liar as he was. They deserved each other, except now neither of them had the other. Mother Evelyn had stopped speaking to me entirely. She blamed me for destroying her son, for humiliating her family, for airing dirty laundry in public. She could not accept that her precious Raymond had done anything wrong, could not face the truth that she had raised a monster. That was fine. I did not need her acceptance. I did not need her approval. I had spent 10 years trying to earn the love of that family, and all it got me was heartache and debt. I was done seeking validation from people who would never give it. Gloria had paid back some of the money she owed me. Not all of it, but some. A payment plan. $50 a month, which at this rate would take her 25 years to pay off. But it was something. It was accountability. It was a reminder every single month that actions have consequences. The anniversary video was still online. It had been viewed over 3 million times now. People shared it, talked about it, used it as an example of what financial abuse looks like and how to fight back. I had become somehow a symbol, not of victimhood, but of victory. I did not set out to be an example for anyone. I just wanted to survive, to protect myself, to take back what was mine. But if my story could help others, if my pain could prevent someone else's pain, then maybe all of it meant something. Maybe all those years of suffering had a purpose I could not see at the time. Last week, something unexpected happened. I was at a coffee shop working on my laptop when a man approached my table. He was handsome, well-dressed, warm smile. He introduced himself as David, said he recognized me from a speaking event I had done at his company. "I just wanted to tell you," he said, "your presentation changed my sister's life. She was in a situation like yours, a husband who was controlling everything. She didn't even realize how bad it was until she heard your story. Now she's free, because of you." I did not know what to say. I just thanked him, told him I was glad his sister was safe. He smiled. "I know this is probably inappropriate, but would you ever want to get coffee sometime?" "Not right now. Whenever you're ready, if you're ready." I looked at him, this stranger who had approached me with kindness, not expectations, who was asking, not demanding, who was giving me the choice. "I'm not looking to take care of anyone," I said. "I did that for 10 years. I'm done being someone's nurse, someone's mother, someone's bank account." David laughed. "Good. I can take care of myself. I'm looking for a partner, an equal, someone to share things with, not someone to carry me." I smiled. "Coffee sounds nice. Let's start there." We exchanged numbers. I do not know if anything will come of it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But for the first time in my life, I am open to the possibility. Open to love that doesn't cost me everything. Open to a relationship where I am valued, not used. That is the real victory, not the money I recovered, not the revenge I got, not even the justice I received when Raymond went to prison. The real victory is this: I know my worth now. I know what I deserve, and I will never again settle for less. If you are watching this and something feels wrong in your relationship, trust yourself. If the money doesn't add up, ask questions. If your partner controls everything and tells you nothing, demand answers. If something in your gut is screaming that something is wrong, listen to it. You are not crazy. You are not paranoid. You are not overreacting. You are seeing the truth. And the truth, no matter how painful, is always better than the lie. Raymond thought our anniversary was going to be my funeral. He thought he was going to bury me in front of everyone we knew. He thought he would walk away with my money, my house, my dignity, while I was left with nothing but shame and debt. Instead, I buried him. I played the video. I exposed the truth. I took back everything he tried to steal from me. And I walked out of that party with my head held high, leaving him to face the consequences of his own actions. He wanted a show, I gave him a premiere. He wanted an audience, I gave him 200 witnesses. He wanted to take everything, he left with nothing. And me, I left with something more valuable than money or houses or cars. I left with myself, the woman I had lost somewhere along the way, the woman I had buried under years of sacrifice and suffering. The woman who had forgotten she was worthy of love and respect and honesty. I found her again, and I am never letting her go. So if you take anything from my story, let it be this: you are enough, just as you are. You don't need to earn love by destroying yourself. You don't need to sacrifice everything to be worthy of loyalty. You don't need to tolerate lies and theft and betrayal just to avoid being alone. Being alone is not the worst thing in the world. Being with someone who doesn't deserve you is. Choose yourself, every time, unapologetically, completely. Because at the end of the day, the only person who will be there for you through everything is you. So make sure you are someone worth being there for. I am Denise Carter, 38 years old, Senior Vice President of Finance, survivor of financial abuse, the woman who played the video, and I am just getting started. Thank you for listening to my story. If it moved you, if it made you think, if it reminded you of your own worth, then do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment below telling me where you are watching from. Tell me your story. Tell me what you survived. Tell me what you are still fighting for. Let us build a community of women who choose themselves, who refuse to be victims, who know their worth and demand nothing less. Because we are not alone. We have never been alone, and together we are unstoppable. This is Denise Carter signing off. Stay strong, stay smart, stay ready, and always, always keep your receipts.